Hi, everyone. I am here to talk to you about petty cash and also to show you how to create a record, a petty cash record, so that you can keep track of the expenses that are going out of that petty cash fund. So, a petty cash fund is a certain amount of money, and usually in different denominations and change, that we put into say, a strong box or a metal box. And we then disperse that money for small items. So if I sent somebody out to get donuts for the sales meeting, I would give the person, say, a $10 bill and said, I need you to go get the donuts for the sales meeting. And that person goes and buys the donuts for the sales meeting, and then they give you the change. You're going to fill out what they call a cash voucher, and you're going to staple the receipt to that, and you're going to put all the information, the date, what it was spent on, and you're going to take that and the leftover money and put it back into that metal box. So you can imagine you're getting more vouchers and less money. And this is the way that you keep track of those, and to make sure that you reconcile, it's called reconciling the petty cash. So the money that we have left over in the metal box plus the amount we've spent should equal the amount that we first put into that metal box. So let's get started. I'm going to show you not the exercise itself. The exercise you have to do is the exercise on page 286, and that is 8-2, Activity 2, Petty Cash Record. Okay, I am going to do the petty cash record that you see on page 283. So you probably should watch me and then do yours. I don't know how you want to do that, but I'm going to create the petty cash record I see on 283. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is go up to the H1, and I'm going to type in petty cash record. You can see that it's there. And then I noticed I'm going to press enter, and I am going to press enter again so I get down a little further, and I'm going to type in date in H3. Then I'm going to press tab, and I'm going to put the date 11/30/2020. Now that is the last day of the month. That's why I'm putting that date. Okay, so now we're going to move back over to the other side, and in A2, I'm going to type in the name of the company I work for. Hardesty. Oh, I just noticed that. That's funny. Security systems. And then I'm going to press enter and type in 892 Elm Grove Avenue. Oh, it's two different words. Elm Grove Avenue. Now remember, you may not be wanting to do this with me. You might want to, because this is not your homework assignment. It is just me showing you how to accomplish your homework without actually doing it for you. Okay, and then press enter, enter. And now I'm going to type in the date, the beginning of the month. And I'm going to press tab, and I'm going to type in beginning balance, because that's how much we had in our metal box to start with, and that's going to be $250. Okay, so now I'm going to type in A8. I'm going to type in date, tab, receipt N-O, period, tab. Now I make sure I do tab because books, tab, taxi, tab, office supplies, tab, postage, tab, art supplies, tab, miscellaneous, period, tab, ending balance, okay, and then enter. Now you'll notice that that is a little weird. They're all cut off. That's why I kept on telling you to do tab. So what we're going to do is we're going to select the date. So all the way from the range A8 to I8. And I am going to bold those, Control B. And then I am going to go to the alignment and I am going to wrap text, which means I'm going to force anything that was hanging off the sides to wrap down below it. And then I'm going to choose center alignment, which is right here, center alignment. Good. Very good. So then my next step is to, since I'm here, is to apply a light gray shading to all these cells. So I am going to go to font here on the home, and I'll look at the bucket, the fill bucket to color the cell, fill the cell with color, and I'll choose a light gray. Okay, so that looks pretty light, looks good enough. Okay, so then I'm going to put in all the amounts. So I'm going to put in 11/6/2020, and then I'm going to press tab and type in 39. And then under books, the first one is $12.95. So what I've done is on November 6th, I used the receipt 39 or the voucher, whatever you want to call it. And I sent someone, or I purchased $12.95 for a book. Okay. So then what happens is I would like to type in this whole thing, but I am not going to. I am going to simply copy and paste so you don't have to watch me do this the whole entire time. So I am pasting that in from another spreadsheet that I was doing. I'm going to increase the width of this cell. That's too wide. So I'm going to increase the width so that the date shows. Okay, and I'm going to click in that first date and I'm going to align it left. There we go. So I have all the dates, I have all the receipt numbers. Okay, so I should have done this without giving you the alignment. So what we'll do, just so it won't be too long, I am going to click on A8. I'm going to go to the right and drag it, and then I'm going down. So I'm dragging the range to I-20. So it's A8 to I-20, and I'm going to then create a border. So I'm going to the home, and then I'm going to font, and then I'm going to the border, the drop down, and choose all borders. Okay, so now it looks a little better because it has all borders. I wanted to make sure that I had all the dates and they were left aligned. And then I was going to choose all the receipt numbers and center those. Okay. And then put all the amounts in the particular cells that they had to be in. Okay. So now I'm going to type in the date here, probably in the, well, I have to do total expenses. So I'll put expense totals here. So I'll type in expense totals. Wow, that's weird. I thought I left align these, but I'll do it again. I probably undid them. There we go. So I have expense totals here in A21, okay? And I'm going to go up between A and B here, click and drag that over a little bit so that expense totals can. Okay, so then a couple down, maybe around here on A23, I'm going to type in the date, the end of month date, which is 11/30/2020, right? And then I am going to click in the cell, go down to the autofill down here in the bottom, and I'm going to drag that down. And you'll notice the dates changed. So I'm going to click on this little autofill options, and I'm going to choose copy cells. You could just type them in separately. And then in B23, I'm typing in ending balance, enter, and then I'm going to type replenish amount, enter, and then total expenses. Okay. Okay, so I think that we may be ready. Let's do our expense totals. We have to do the borders and the gray color. So let's click in A21 and go across to I21. And we want to put more borders because I didn't have it. So to go to borders, you're going to font, group, and then you can just simply click on the border button because it remembers it was for all borders. Okay, so let's do some calculations now. So I can go full screen. So what we're going to do is we are going to do a few formulas. So the first formula we're going to do is the ending balance in I-29. I want to know what the ending balance is after I purchase the books. So I'm going to type in equals, and then I'm going to click up here in D6 because that's the amount we start with, the beginning balance. And then I'm going to type in the minus, and then this gets a little crazy. You ready? I'm going to put in sum, and then an open parenthesis, and then I'm going to select the area C9 to H9, and then I'm going to close parentheses. So let me explain this. What we're saying is we want whatever's in 250, I mean in the cell D6, which is 250, we're going to subtract the sum of anything that's inputted in these particular cells. The reason we're looking through every cell is going to be in one of them, and we don't know which one, so we have to select that whole range. Press enter. So you'll notice that what's left is 237.05. Now the second line is going to be a little different. So click in I10. So you're clicking in cell I10. You're going to type in equals, okay? And then click in the previous ending balance. So that's I9. So equals, and I click in I9, and then you know the routine, minus the sum, type in minus sum, open parenthesis. So I choose that area I want to look for an amount, and that would be C10 to H10. a close parenthesis, and press enter. Okay, so that's the second one I do. Now I can copy that down because it's gonna work. If I fill that down, it will then say equals I11 minus anything in C 11 to H11. It's just going to fill in because that's the way it is. It will keep on moving it down, down. So I'm going to go back up to my second entry. I'm going to go to the the right bottom. You see the tag. When I see the plus sign, I'm going to drag that down to I20. So you'll see that the amount went down, down, down for every item I purchased. So now I don't like those little tags. They're really an error. Well, I don't know that it's an error. It's just telling you it thinks it's an error, but it is not. So we'll use the drop down and I'll say ignore error. But if you didn't do it back then, you can simply select a cell and choose it again, ignore error, or you can select them as we did before, select all of them, and then choose one to ignore. Okay, so it's looking pretty good. Petty cash. Somebody came in, I gave him $12.95 for the book, and I only had $2.37. Then on the 8th, someone needed taxi money, so I took that out, and now there's only $2.28. So on and so forth, all the way down. So at the end of the month, I have only $78.55 left in that middle box. But that's okay because we have vouchers in the other amount in that we had spent. So in other words, if we have 78 left, right, we should have vouchers for whatever 250 minus 78.55 is. Okay, so let's then move forward. Okay, we want the expense totals. So the way that we find the expense totals are to select C21 and we click on the auto sum button. So we're on the home ribbon and the auto sum button is right here. It looks like some kind of Greek letter. I'm sure it is. And you'll notice that the range only picked up to over the 1875. I don't want that. I want to choose the range. I'm going to click in C9 and I'm then going to drag that down to C20 because that's a range I want to add. Anything in there, I'm adding. So I press enter. Good. So you'll notice it gives me the total amount I spent on books. Correct? Okay, so now I'm going to fill this formula across. How much do I love the formulas? Because I'm copying that formula to the right, it will also make all the cells to the right. So watch what I mean. When I'm in cell C21, it's a sum of C9 to C20. Now when I copy that over, you'll now notice that it says D9 because when I copied it over, D9 to D20, that's relativity. It's why everybody loves Excel so much. Huh. So now that we know that that's correct and we liked it, we're going to click in the cell D21. Going to go to the bottom right where you see that little tag, and when it turns into a plus sign, the cursor turns into a plus sign, you're going to drag that all the way across to H21. So now I have the totals for each type of expense. It's beautiful. Okay, so we're moving right along. So now we need to put in what the ending balance is. So I'm going to click in D 23 and type in equals, and this cell I-20 is the ending balance, right? So all I'm doing is saying equals display whatever's in I-20 in this cell. So when I press enter, you'll see that the amount in I-20 is now displayed in D23. So what is a replenish amount? That means how much do we have to put back in order to bring that balance up to 250.